Today we're going to talk about connected speech, and particularly assimilation. By the end of this lecture, you will understand the major processes that can occur in connected speech and will be able to describe the main cases of assimilation. When we speak, we don't pronounce a word, then stop, then pronounce the next word, then stop. No, we don't do that. In natural speech, we pronounce words very rapidly and they bump into each other, and sometimes the endings or beginnings change depending on the other endings and beginnings. So sounds can merge, disappear, or change. And when two consonants then come together and influence each other or one the other, this is a case of assimilation. When we speak about a vowel and a consonant, when they influence each other or one the other, this is a case of accommodation. When sounds disappear, it's elision. All these processes make articulation easier. Today we're going to concentrate on assimilation in particular. This word assimilation has a Latin root in it, simil. So it means that it's a process by which one consonant becomes similar to the other one, or two consonants become similar in some respect. The consonant which articulation is modified or changed is called assimilated. The consonant which influences the articulation of the neighboring consonant is called assimilating. So here you can have an example. I can go. Assimilation can happen at the word boundaries. Here, it's a type of assimilation when the back lingual g influences the preceding alveolar full lingual n, and n changes into n. That's why you pronounce it I can go. Here we have the n sound is assimilated because it's modified. It changes into and the assimilating consonant is the next one, the following consonant. It's g. When assimilation is still an active process in a language at a given point in time, it's called synchronic. When it is a historical change, it's called a diachronic case of assimilation. Here on this slide you can see two vivid examples of historical assimilation. In the word assimilation, we have a case of assimilation. Initially, the two Latin words ad and similatio come together. The full lingual alveolar occlusive plosive consonant d is fully assimilated by the full lingual alveolar constrictive fricative consonant s. Finally, we have this word assimilation. Another vivid example is the words with the ending j, sh, sh, as in occasion, session, etc. Initially, the sounds s or z came before I or j, and finally they resulted in the sounds that I demonstrated here on the slide, and historically they came to be sh, j, ch. In the progressive type of assimilation, the first consonant, it's called a preceding consonant, influences the second, the next, the following consonant. In the regressive type of assimilation, you have vice versa. The second or the following consonant influences the first, the preceding consonant. In the double case of assimilation, you have a reciprocal influence. It means that both sounds influence each other, as in quick. Assimilation has 3 degrees: complete, partial, and intermediate. These names say for themselves. In the complete case of assimilation, the neighboring speech sounds fully coincide in their articulation. It means that they become the same, as in center, dashi. So we have two completely the same sounds. When sounds change partially, it means one or two features change, but the rest stays the same. As in the word tenth, n changes its place of obstruction. In the intermediate case of assimilation, you have one sound that changes completely, but it becomes a different sound, as in the word input. So here you have n and p. P is bilabial, n is alveolar, and when the bilabial consonant p influences the preceding alveolar consonant n changes its place of obstruction and becomes bilabial. So it becomes m. And as a result, we have the pronunciation input, not input. Assimilation may influence the following: the place of obstruction, both the place of obstruction and the active organ, the position of the lips, the work of the vocal cords, the position of the soft palate, and the manner of the production of noise. Totally 6 features. Let's describe each of them. Don't be terrified. I'm going to explain these cases of assimilation with the help of some symbols. Here you can see C. C stands for consonant. And in brackets, I have indicated some particular characteristics that are relevant, important in this case. So we can have here an alveolar consonant plus a dental consonant. This is a case of regressive assimilation, and mostly it's partial, because only one feature, the place of obstruction, is changed. For example, tenth. Here you see the dental consonant th influences the preceding alveolar consonant n, and n is pronounced at the teeth, not at the alveolar ridge, but at the teeth. The same happens in them. Read this. Sixth. Finally, we have not a new sound, but the same sound, but with a different place of obstruction. Okay, please take a moment, make a pause in this video, and find examples in your final oral presentation. Assimilation can influence both the place of obstruction and the active organ. Here, you need to have forelingual alveolar consonant plus backlingual velar consonant. When they come together, you have a new sound, backlingual velar, as in conquest, congress, I can go. Here you have the backlingual consonant k. It influences the preceding alveolar consonant forelingual, and it changes into a new backlingual velar consonant It's a case of regressive and intermediate assimilation. Okay, take a moment and find your examples in your final oral presentation. The position of the lips. Sometimes it's called labialization. Here you need to have a consonant plus bilabial w. When they come together, the bilabial consonant w makes the preceding consonant labialized. When we start pronouncing this cluster, we round our lips initially, as in quick, 20, swim, language. The only exception is read well. Here you have a regressive and again partial assimilation because the initial sound changes only one feature. It becomes labialized. Okay, take a moment, make a pause, and find some examples in your text. The work of the vocal cords, divorcing or voicing. You can be terrified by this slide, but it's very simple. What I would like to say is when you have a voiceless consonant plus a voiced one, or vice versa, voiced consonant plus a voiceless one, they become influencing each other. And as a result, a voiced or a voiceless consonant occurs. As in, for example, have to. When we pronounce them separately, we pronounce have to. But when we pronounce them in rapid speech, very fluently, very fast, we pronounce that have to, because the voiceless consonant t influences the preceding voiced consonant v, and it becomes voiceless f. The same happens in newspaper. If we pronounce them separately, we say news. Oh my gosh, good news, thank you. But when they come together, you pronounce that newspaper, because the voiceless p influences the preceding consonant and makes it voiceless. So, but it happens only in a few compounds. That's why be very careful. Okay, take a moment and find these examples in your text. Another rule of assimilation, which belongs to the work of the vocal cords, is about a sonorant. When a voiceless consonant comes before a sonorant and a sonorant is followed by a vowel, you have a case of devoicing of a sonorant. As in, for example, small, please, slow, try. So you can hear this devoicing of a sonorant because it's not so vibrant, it's not so bright under the influence of a voiceless consonant before a vowel. Okay, now take a moment and find your examples. Practice pronouncing them. The position of the soft palate on nasalization. This happens when you have a nasal consonant and an oral consonant. The nasal consonant becomes influencing the oral one, and the oral becomes a nasal consonant. As in, for example, lemmy. Here you have the nasal consonant m, and it influences the preceding consonant t. And t is oral, so it becomes m as well. Sometimes it happens accidentally. Or gimme, sandwich, grandmother. As you can see, this case can be progressive or regressive. Okay, take a moment to find your examples. The method of reduction of noise. Here you will have 4 rules. The first one is called loss of plosive. P stands for a plosive consonant. When 2 plosive consonants come together, one loses its plosion. And to be more exact, the first one loses its plosion. As in act, fact, sit down, goodbye. You can see here that the first loses its plosion under the influence of the second plosive consonant. Okay, take a moment to find your examples. The next rule will be nasal plosion. Here you need to have a nasal consonant before a plosive consonant. As in help me, goodness, pardon. Here, the plosive consonant gets nasal plosion. So it's a case of regressive partial assimilation. Okay, take a moment to find your examples. Lateral plosion. Here you need to have a plosive consonant plus a lateral sonorant. L. L. When they come together, L influences the preceding consonant and the plosive consonant gets lateral plosion, as in little, middle, that lesson, good luck. So you can hear this lateral plosion. Okay, take a moment to find your examples and practice them, please. And the last rule is affrication. When you have a plosive consonant plus the sound y, the plosive consonant gets the tongue front co-articulation. It means additional point of articulation. In rapid speech, we hear that quite often, don't you, would you, etc. Okay, that's easy to find. Please find your example in your final oral presentation. Okay, let's recap. Assimilation can be contextual. It occurs at the word boundaries, as in give me, let me, help me. It can be obligatory or established, If you don't pronounce this case of assimilation, you get the impression of mispronunciation. For example, if you don't pronounce the word act without the loss of plosive, or little without the lateral plosive, or tenth when you pronounce n at the alveolar ridge, you will get the impression of mispronunciation. Accidental assimilation. That's the result of carelessness that cannot be considered a literary norm. This is a good example. Usually we don't pronounce lemmy. We can pronounce it with nasal plosive as in latme when t gets nasal plosive, but we pronounce lemmy only in rapid, in careless speech. That's why it's a case of accidental assimilation. Here I have described a case of assimilation. In the word asked, you have a double assimilation. When you describe any case of assimilation, please specify all the specific characteristics of consonants. Whether it's important that it is voiceless or voiced when you speak about devoicing or voicing, whether it's important that it's a plosive consonant, an oral consonant, or a nasal consonant. Every detail is important when you describe a case of assimilation, whether it's historical, accidental, obligatory, established, or it occurs at the boundaries, contextual, etc. Thank you very much.